The conflict between Ambazonia and the Republic of Cameroon, or La République du Cameroun, has entered its 8th year, marking a protracted struggle between two opposing visions, one of a centralized Francophone-dominated La République du Cameroun, and the other of a self-determined Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Despite the odds stacked against them, the might of a heavily armed national military, international ambivalence, and economic pressures of a war-torn society, Ambazonia stands undefeated. Recent events underscore this reality, particularly the failed school resumption on September 9, 2024. While La République authorities planned for a return to school, it was Ambazonia's voice, Ambazonia's will and determination that ultimately prevailed. This incident, like many others, reveals that La République du Cameroon's hold on Ambazonian territory is tenuous at best, and despite their relentless efforts, the Ambazonian people continue to dictate their own fate. It is becoming even clearer Ambazonia is not a land that can be subdued. September 9, 2024 was supposed to mark the return of students across La République du Cameroun to their classrooms. The government of La République du Cameroun had set this date in stone, but in Ambazonia, a different reality unfolded. Rather than children flocking to schools, classrooms remained empty, and the street stayed silent, an eerie testament to the power of the Ambazonian resistance. In many areas, Ambazonian fighters ensured that La République du Cameroun schools stayed shut, defying the decrees of their government. The stark contrast between the government's expectations and the reality on the ground was more than a logistical failure. It was a symbolic defeat. Take the case of Indop, where the district officer was seen walking through overgrown schoolyards, begging, literally begging for teachers to return. Even the principal of the school was nowhere to be found. He was absent. This desperate plea for normalcy was met with a resounding silence as educators and students alike heeded the call of the Ambazonian leadership rather than the government of La République du Cameroun in Yaoundé. In Menchum, another district officer stationed in the town of Isimbi was left to deal with a different yet equally humiliating blow. When he discovered a community school set up by the locals, he ordered its closure, frustrated that the only schools allowed to operate were under the directives of the Ambazonian authorities. His orders, however, felt like a mere echo in the wind, ineffective and out of place in a territory that no longer sees itself as part of Cameroon. Even in Boya, a key city in the conflict and the former seat of Ambazonian activism and power, Okalia Bilia, the governor, expressed his frustration as Ambazonian fighters paralyzed every form of activity, including schools. In his desperation, Okalia turned to local chiefs and elite, urging them to intervene and stop the fighters. Yet, despite his authority, these local leaders found themselves powerless against a movement that has deep roots in the community and speaks to the hearts of the people. The resounding failure to reopen schools as planned on September 9 by La République du Cameroon is not just a logistical defeat for them. It is a clear indication that the government is losing the battle for the hearts and minds of Ambazonia's people. The failure of school resumption coincides with the successful 3-week lockdown imposed by the Ambazonian leadership. This lockdown, executed with precision and discipline, is yet another reminder to the world that Cameroon has lost its authority in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. No matter how many soldiers Yaoundé deploys, no matter how many decrees are issued from the presidential palace in a 2-day, the reality on the ground is different. It is Ambazonia's will that dictates the pace of life, not La République du Cameroon's. In previous years, there were moments where La République du Cameroon seemed to believe it could reassert its control over Ambazonia. There were sporadic successes in reopening schools or holding government functions in certain towns and most of the remote areas. Yet, each time La République du Cameroon government claimed victory, Ambazonia countered with a powerful show of resistance. The lockdown, which affected daily life, trade, and movement, was a testament to this unyielding control. It wasn't just a declaration of defiance. It was proof that Ambazonia is functioning as a sovereign entity, one capable of exercising jurisdiction over its people. The Ambazonian conflict has drained La République du Cameroon economically and socially, slowly but surely squeezing the life out of the state apparatus. The war, now longer than the Nigerian-Biafran conflict, and both were wars, has left the government of La République du Cameroon with a staggering debt crisis, deteriorating infrastructure, and an overextended military that struggles to maintain basic control. La République du Cameroon's national debt has skyrocketed as it tries to sustain military operations in Ambazonia. Reports of the Cameroonian government struggling to pay civil servants and meet obligations to its own people are becoming increasingly common. Civil servants, already stretched thin, are owed months of unpaid salaries, leading to discontent and whispers of internal unrest. Soldiers sent to fight in Ambazonia are underpaid and under-equipped, which not only diminishes their morale, but also exposes the vulnerabilities of La République du Cameroon's military as an overburdened, exhausted force. The decaying infrastructure in La République du Cameroon is further evidence of the government's inability to manage both the war and the needs of its people. Roads, hospitals, schools, and other essential services are falling apart, with most resources being funneled into the war effort. The war has left its footprint on every corner of Cameroonian society, and the economic toll is staggering. The situation has become so dire that Cameroon is now forced to rely heavily on international aid and loans to stay afloat, further plunging the country into a financial abyss from which it might never recover. If the government of La République du Cameroon still believes it can win this conflict militarily, it needs to start rethinking its strategy to subdue Ambazonia. The war has lasted far longer than even the Biafran conflict, which lasted for only 3 years. And it has exceeded both the First and the Second World Wars, the first one lasting 4 years, the second one 6 years. This longevity is not just a testament to the complexity of the conflict, but to the resilience, the resilience of the Ambazonian people. They have endured displacement, the burning of their villages, the killing of their loved ones, and yet they continue to stand. No amount of military intervention has been able to break Ambazonians' will. The government of La République du Cameroon may have the weapons, but Ambazonia has something far more powerful, an idea, or a cause rooted in a deep desire for freedom and independence. The determination of the Ambazonian fighters, ladies and gentlemen, and their leadership, despite their limited resources, shows that this conflict cannot be won by force. Ambazonia has become an example of an asymmetrical war, where the weaker party leverages its local knowledge, popular support, and moral high ground to challenge a far larger and better equipped adversary, that is, La République du Cameroon. Cameroon's reliance on brute force has done little more than galvanize Ambazonians' resistance. The more Cameroon attempts to suppress Ambazonia, the stronger and more resolute the Ambazonian movement becomes, especially the more resolute Ambazonia restoration fighters. The leadership in Yaoundé faces a stark choice: continue a costly war with no end in sight, or begin to accept the reality of Ambazonian self-determination. As the conflict drags on, it's not just Ambazonia that suffers. The entire country of La République du Cameroon is being pulled down with it. Politically, Cameroon's leadership is beginning to fracture under the strain. There are rumblings within the government, within their military, and within their civil service about the feasibility of continuing this fight. President Paul Biya's regime has long relied on a policy of centralization and suppression. But as the years go by, this strategy is proving unsustainable. International pressure is mounting, and the global community is growing increasingly critical of Cameroon's handling of the situation and its refusal to dialogue. Continued reports of human rights abuses, war crimes, and atrocities are eroding La République du Cameroon's standing on the world stage. Moreover, the government's inability to address the root causes of the conflict, the systemic assimilation, marginalization, and oppression of the Ambazonian population, only ensures that the war will continue. As long as Cameroon refuses to recognize the legitimate grievances of the Ambazonian people, there can be no peace, neither for them or for us. The people of Ambazonia are not asking for superficial reforms or half measures. They are demanding complete independence, and they have proven that they will accept nothing less. Again, nothing less. The situation in Ambazonia remains a powerful reminder to the leaders in La République du Cameroon of the limits of force and the strength of a people united by a common cause. La République du Cameroon has thrown everything it can at Ambazonia: its military, its bureaucracy, its legal system, its money, and yet Ambazonia remains unbroken. The failed school resumption, the successful lockdown, and the continued inability of Cameroon to exert meaningful control over Ambazonia all point to one undeniable fact, and it is that Ambazonia cannot be defeated. Cannot be defeated. The government of La République du Cameroon finds itself trapped in a war it cannot win. Every day that the conflict continues, Cameroon's economy weakens, its infrastructure crumbles, and its authority erodes. The longer it takes for La République du Cameroon to realize that Ambazonia is a nation determined to forge its own destiny, the deeper the wounds will grow on both sides. The failed attempts, ladies and gentlemen, by the La République du Cameroon government to assert control over Ambazonia's schools, coupled with the lockdown that was so effectively enforced by Ambazonia restoration fighters, should serve as clear indicators that the struggle for Ambazonian independence is not merely a political struggle, it is a deeply rooted generational fight for identity and sovereignty. The leadership in Yaoundé may continue to deny Ambazonia's right to self-determination, but every day they delay a meaningful resolution, they risk further unraveling the fabric of their own country.